Carl Jung discovered a modern epidemic, a psychological sickness that keeps talented, brilliant men in a state of perpetual boyhood, living a life of fantasy and unfulfilled potential. You know this man, perhaps you are this man. He is charming, creative, and full of incredible, world-changing ideas. He is always on the verge of his big break, the next project that will finally be the one. But he is 30, 40, 50 years old and still living a provisional life. He drifts from job to job, from city to city, from relationship to relationship, never fully committing, always preserving his options, terrified of being tied down by the mundane reality of a single path. He is a genius, trapped in the waiting room of his own life. This is not a personality type. Jung identified it as a powerful and destructive archetypal possession called puer aeternus, or the eternal boy. And Jung understood that behind this charming facade of freedom and limitless potential lies a deep, tragic, and often unconscious despair. This is not an attack, it is a diagnosis. It is a journey to understand the hidden architecture of this psychological prison and to find the key to the heavy, rusted lock. The primary symptom of the puer aeternus is what I call the curse of potential. His life is not about what is, but about what could be. He has a deep-seated hatred of all limits. He resists any definition, any box, any commitment, because he feels it would kill all his other magnificent possibilities. To choose one career is to kill the 100 other careers he could have. To choose one partner is to kill the possibility of 1,000 other, perhaps more perfect partners. So he chooses none of them. His life remains a fantasy of pure, unblemished potential. Jung saw that this is not freedom. It is a profound fear of life itself. It is a fear of the friction, the boredom, and the inevitable imperfections of reality. The puer lives in the abstract, beautiful world of ideas, but he is terrified of what he calls incarnation, the messy, difficult, and often disappointing work of bringing an idea down to earth and making it real. He starts the novel but never finishes it. He has the brilliant business idea but never writes the business plan. He is a master of the first 20%, the exciting honeymoon phase. But the moment the work becomes a grind, the moment it requires patient, disciplined effort, he loses interest and flits to the next new exciting fantasy. His life becomes a graveyard of brilliant beginnings. So where does this pattern come from? Jung knew that the puer aeternus does not exist in a vacuum. He is almost always the creation of an unresolved mother complex, specifically what I call the devouring mother archetype. This can be a real biographical mother who, perhaps out of her own anxieties or a desire for control, smothers her child. She makes life too comfortable. She protects him from every struggle, solves every problem for him, and praises his special potential without ever demanding that he prove it with real-world results. She unconsciously wants him to remain a child, dependent on her, because his leaving would be a wound to her own identity. But this can also be an internalized complex. It can be a man who mothers himself, who constantly seeks comfort, avoids hardship, and allows himself to live in a fantasy world where he is a special, unrecognized genius. In either case, the result is the same. The devouring mother archetype cuts off the son's connection to the challenging, structuring energy of the healthy father archetype. She keeps him in a warm, comfortable, but ultimately stagnant psychic womb. He never has to face the cold, hard realities of the world, and therefore he never develops the psychological muscle, the resilience, the grit to build a life of his own. He is, in a very real sense, still psychically attached to the mother, and therefore he is not free. The modern world often confuses this pathology with a virtue. We are told to embrace our inner child, to stay young at heart, to be creative and open to possibility. So what is so wrong with the pure? Isn't he just the ultimate creative free spirit? Jung would tell you that this is a dangerous and fundamental confusion between two very different archetypes: the life-giving divine child and the life-destroying pure aeternus. The divine child is a source of creativity, wonder, and new beginnings within a mature, well-grounded adult personality. The mature artist, the wise elder, they all have access to this creative spirit. But in the case of the pure, the child is not a part of the personality. The child is the whole personality. He is not free. He is possessed. He is a slave to his own refusal to grow up. His creativity is not a generative force that builds things in the world. It is a defensive mechanism that keeps him trapped in the sterile, safe world of fantasy. His openness is not a sign of wisdom. It is a sign of his terror of commitment. The cure for the puer is not to find the one perfect project or the one perfect partner that will finally inspire him to commit. This is just another fantasy, another escape. The cure, as prescribed by Jung, is the conscious and deliberate choice to undertake difficult and often boring work. It is the path of incarnation. It is the painful descent from the airy heights of fantasy to the solid, unforgiving ground of reality. This is the work of choosing a task, any task, and staying with it, especially after the initial excitement has faded. It is the feeling of boredom in your gut, the scream of your mind to escape to a new fantasy, and the conscious adult choice to sit with that discomfort and keep going. It is the act of finishing the project, not for the applause, not for the external validation, but for the quiet, internal victory of having kept a promise to yourself. It is the only way to build self-respect. This is how you build the inner father, the internal structure that was never given to you. Every moment of endured boredom, every ounce of disciplined effort is an act of self-parenting. Jung knew that there is no shortcut. The poor must sacrifice his fantasy of being everything in order to finally become something real. Remember where we started. Jung's diagnosis of a modern sickness, the puer aeternus, the man-child trapped in the amber of his own potential. But Jung's final insight is this: the puer's wound is also his great potential. His creativity is real. His vision is real. His connection to the world of archetypes is real. The only thing missing is the anchor, the connection to the earth. The journey out of this prison is not about killing the boy. It is about building a man around him. The goal is to become the person who can take that brilliant, creative inner child and give him a safe, structured, and disciplined home in which to play and create. You are not broken. You are uninitiated. The question isn't whether you have potential. It's whether you'll have the courage to ground it in the painful, beautiful soil of reality. The world doesn't need another brilliant idea that dies in a notebook. It needs you, the integrated man, the man who can build. The choice is not between freedom and commitment. That is the boy's illusion. The choice is between the fantasy of freedom and the real power of a created life. Every time you choose to finish the difficult task, you are choosing reality. Every time you commit to a path despite its imperfections, you are choosing strength. You are no longer a prince of potential. You have begun the slow, arduous, and sacred work of becoming a king in the real world.